First thing we always do with this question is we should look at the picture to understand what's going on. What we see is there is a block clearly moving to the right. There is a block that looks stationary. There's a force sensor attached to it. So we have two objects going to hit each other. So when we have two bodies interacting like this, we should be thinking momentum. Now we read the question. Horizontal track can slide with negligible friction, which is initially at rest, so we were correct. Collides with an electronic force probe, generating a force versus time graph and causing block 2 to start sliding. So block 2 is going to start sliding clearly in that direction. It's not going the other direction. What additional measurements must be made to determine the momentum of block 2 after the collision? Well, the momentum of block 2 is mv. The change in momentum, we know, is also m delta v, which is equal to f delta t, which is the impulse, j. So if we want to know the change in momentum, which is p minus p0, and p0 was 0, so p then will equal the average force times the change in time. And we will have then a force time graph. So the force times the average change in time will give us the change in momentum. A force time graph, the things we can read are force and time. The slope is delta F over delta T, or the rate of change in force. And the area is F times delta T, which is the definition of impulse, which happens to be equal to the change in momentum. And if the initial momentum is 0. So we shouldn't need any additional information because the graph, the FT graph that's generated, will give us the impulse, which is equal to the change in momentum. The initial was 0, so therefore we know the final. So we don't need to know the mass of block 2, because if we needed to know the mass of block 2, we would need to know the mass of block 1 as well. The speed of block 2 only, no, because we would need to know the mass if we needed to know the speed, both the mass and the post-collision speed. Now, we don't need these. The answer is must. We don't need, we could use this. This could give us the answer. This alone would not work. This alone would not work. Choice 4 could work. Since the word is must, we don't need to collect any more information.